Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Dream Oracle for You. I am your host, Sarah, and as always, we have the lovely co host, Biliana, on the call. Today is a very interesting episode, and I am so excited to introduce our guest today, and that is Trevor Wie. I hope I've pronounced your name correctly. Today's episode, we have so many things we want to talk about. We're not sure where it's going to go. Possibly going to talk about out of body experiences in relation to dreams, premonitions, and the subconscious and subconscious are some of the topics that we may cover today. So we hope you all enjoy today's episode. And as always, Biliana, kick us off with a little welcome.
Yeah. I say this every episode, like I'm super excited, but this one I've been really excited about because I've listened to a few of your intuitive sensing, like with Lay Love Down, and because Sarah and I are part of Lay Love Down, so I've listened to some of your things and just your knowledge. It's so good, and the way you talk about things, it's just so down to earth and simple. It's not overcomplicated, and so I was like, we got to get you on to have a chat and um, come it from a different perspective. So I reckon that you'll have a very different perspective compared to us and other people we've had on. So yeah, welcome. And yeah, who's Trevor? Whatever you want to say about yourself and what you do.
Yeah,
And yeah.
no, no worries, folks. Thanks for that. Thanks for having me. That's actually really good feedback that you just gave there. Like because when you present, you don't really look at self, but other people, and the ego has a different perception of self, and the other people see the real expression. If you're not, you know what I'm talking about, yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm always interested, people, at the beginning when they do the lead-in and they go, oh, and it's going to be really good, really good. And I'm thinking, how do they know? Yeah, because anything could happen after you've said that. But anyway, I'm just waking up. It's like Monday morning. I don't know if it is Monday morning or not, but I think it is. Yeah. Anyway, uh, yeah, all good, folks. Well, you covered a bit of the background there, but there may be people here that you will view this, haven't been on Lay Love Down or any of the other things. Uh, Basically, a lot of stuff there, but what I do at the moment is I present on a lot of different things to do with beingness. And the insights come from growing up in with original people and tapping into the original conscious genome on the continent in the north of Australia here, um, where I am. And I always make it clear that I don't represent original people with what I say. I represent findings to me, which means I, in a way, I work with a lot of different elders over the years, and we, get things. A lot of stuff, come in from not speaking with people. It's just coming in from the ether, so to speak. But at the end of the day, you got to treat everyone as an individual. You got a group of people, and a general term covers them with it as that group, but you got to treat everyone as an individual. So that's why I say, I only represent experiences to me, and they often correlate and they're often the same or same but different to what a lot of other people are having anyway. But everyone is different, so you're going to get mob that spin out and a mob that are really calm when they hear this stuff. um, yeah, so I'm living in the bush. I'm at the neighbour's place at the moment because he's got Starlink, which is a lot better than the connection that I got where I am on the block. And because I haven't got a generator working at the moment, and it's really overcast, so there's no solar and whatever. And I've got more secure connection to connect with you folks up the road here, which is good. Just to give you that, and that background behind me is a songline, which is a part of a braided system of a major songline that comes into Northern Australia from Bali and goes all the way down to Uluru. But anyway, um, that's just a nice background. So
Yes. Yeah, cool. Um, We do you want to like quickly just touch on like even just your workshops that you run? Because I've been looking at them, and you had one like in person. Was it a camp out or something like that recently that you had?
Oh, the camping. No, that's
Yeah.
coming. That's coming up.
Oh,
July the
yeah.
22nd to August the 1st. And JJ Sparks helped me put that together, and we worked
Oh,
together
yeah.
because it was an idea that came up a while ago. And I said, well, logistically, I'm not ready. And then by the time I think it was around November, well, I said, oh, I've got to start getting serious about this. So we started talking about it, and then I had to cap it. I've got a background in tourism, so working with a 21-seater four-wheel drive truck, going around country, different camps and whatnot, and just the whole thing. Plus, I'm not just a tour guide, I'm a life guide. I don't tell people that. And but essentially that's what I am. I work in early childcare background and all that sort of thing. So I'm just guiding, there's no, if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. That's business to you. But I'll present the stuff which is helpful for beingness. So that's what I'm into. Anyway, we got to this point and I said to JJ, I said, oh, well, I got to cap it at 12 because I got nothing on the block. It's a bush block. I got to get some chemical toilets so we don't have a minefield everywhere. When people do number twos and they got these little minefields all over the joint. So just to, because I got this, and I got to put in some bush showers for them and whatever. And
Yeah.
anyway, what was where was I getting at? And then I said to Joe, well, we got to see if people want to come first, or if they're able, they might want to, but if they're able to, logistically and everything else. Well, they were capped it at 12, and in 7 days it was done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really good. So obviously it's showing that people are really wanting to know what you have to share, but also that they're wanting to know themselves as well. So that's really good.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
the thing is, most of the people, well, I think all of them have already seen or been part of the sessions that I do. So
Yeah.
either the natural law or the intuitive sensing or both. So they already got a good understanding of what the process is going to be about uh, grounding, reconnecting to core and beingness and wellness in the bush.
Yeah.
You get rid of all the EMF stuff, no phones, take the shoes off, watch out for snakes.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah. Yeah.
um, yeah. I anyway, I'm not sure if that sort of answered your question. Yeah, so but anyway, that's still upcoming, that one. I've got people on a waiting list now because they're asking when am I going to do the next one.
Well,
So
that's
this
great.
is
Yeah.
this is the first one, and then next year, planet's spinning the way that it should. um, I'm wanting to do two a year. I think we could get enough people on ground to do two a year. Yeah.
Lovely.
See,
Yeah.
see how it goes.
Cool.
But anyway, yeah.
So
Yeah.
exciting. I
And
wish
that
I was
sounds
in
good.
Australia.
Yeah, cool. Sarah, did you want to start off with a question or do you want me to start off with something?
Yeah, I know I gave you an overview in the introduction, but one of the questions that we wanted to start with, I actually didn't tell you, so we'll go with it on the spot. You had mentioned where does the picture come from in terms of dreams? And so I guess we just wanted to hear what your perspective was on that.
Well, that's quite long. It could go half an hour.
All right. That's all right because that's a big question.
Yeah, I mean, we can make it a conversation, but we definitely want to hear your thoughts.
Where does the picture come from? All right. I'm just going to see if I've got a slide loaded here. Just bear with me because there is a story to this as to where that phrase came into mind to me at 3 years of age. So that's the best place where to start the story. I just got to work out if I can get into, because I got other things loaded here. Just bear with me a second. I've got to check if I've actually got this one in here, or I've got to get it from another folder.
Okay, and I just turned on sharing privileges, so there you go.
Oh, you don't need to, I don't share on the
Oh,
thing.
okay.
It can get hijacked too easy. I know because we've been on things which are really critical to do with, you know, getting rid of the overt stuff on this planet, and we got hijacked by them. No, no, I wasn't the host. It was a big thing all around Australia, and they got in and they just hijacked because of the share screen and the whiteboard.
Hmm.
So I just do this. Can you see that?
Yeah,
Oh, I see. Yep.
Yeah. And I do this. You see that?
Yeah, perfect.
yeah,
So, so that's why I was just looking to see if I got an image in here for this that goes with this story. Um, Trying to think where I've got it saved. Oh, look, I I don't find it readily, and I'll just start with the story. Just change that background slide. Sorry. So what happened was, I was 3 years of age. I'm just going to say a couple other things here because we're going to be talking about memory in the memory field. And you hear paradigms that are dysfunctional, and you don't know they're dysfunctional until you get to a point where you're critical thinking, you work out, well, hang on, that's dysfunctional. It's self-limiting, self-sabotaging, etc. Um, so there is, I'd heard this at a certain stage, and then more than once through life, is that they say that you don't remember anything younger than 4 years of age. Rubbish. Okay. If you set a wall or a parameter like that, that's conditioning. You could say, oh, it's just a generalization, but that's the very essence of egregore, is the herd mentality just follows it without questioning, and then you believe it. So there's belief and there's belief, and there's a whole lot of issues going on there. So I work with knowledge systems, not belief systems. And so what's happening with this story on three, I got memories going back to 10 months, validated by mother to me
wow.
because she knows the incident. And when I'm talking about it when I'm 6 or 7 to her, oh, Mum, you remember? And she says, you couldn't remember that. But she obviously realizes that I did because I'm describing everything from the point of view of a 10-month-year-old. Yeah, 10-month-old. Actually, I'll tell you that story because this is sort of similar to dreams in terms of, and it'll get to where does the picture come from, because this is to do with image. Okay. The mind is the thing that formed the image. The eye is receiving the data. That's just data. The mind will form the image. The image is always a mental thing. So here I am at 10, and I recall this tree going past me, I'm recalling looking over the shoulder to right and seeing the tree go past me, and the tree was like this, it was a tree. It was going past me. And I was thinking, little kids look for movement, they look for color, and how come this tree is moving? I was not cognizant that legs to me were going. And what happened? Dad was holding me up under the armpits, and he let me go. Mum saying, "Don't do that, Baz, don't do that, Baz." But Dad's dad, he'll do this stuff. And I just started running. That's why they say I was running before I could walk. And then I don't remember after that. Mum just said, but flat on the face, So whatever I did, 5 or 6 steps, I just took off. But that was the tree going past me. Yeah.
Yeah,
To do with image, to do with memory now. Mum went back, and when I was talking about all this, and even at a later stage, and by then she was going through photo albums, and she got a picture of that tree on the side of that house where the incident took place, and the tree was a baby tree like this. The reason I'm saying this is all about perception, belief, experience, and knowledge. It's what creates perception, because when you got a baby tree like that and a baby, and to the baby, that tree looks big, but when you're bigger, that tree looks small. Okay, so perception, there's a lot of stuff here which is, you could say it's range relevant. Yeah. So because when we get into the dreams and looking at symbols and that's the same type of malleable stuff that's going on, you gotta, is it you, or is it something else, or is it, yeah. So anyway, that's just a background to that one. And then, so when I was 3, I was what you could describe as comatose. In other words, I was asleep for 3 days because I was very sick. And they didn't know what was wrong with me. Back in those days, they was sort of diagnosed with suspected pneumonia at some stage. But anyway, uh, got to a point where I'm awake now, and Mum's taken me to give me a bath, and I recall, don't know exact words, but the sentiment, it's all in the mental framework. I recall going, "Who made this up?" Yeah, because I didn't like it. There's no way you're going to get a guy like me who had a driver's license at 3 years of age. They had to give me a driver's license at 3 because I was driving mum up the wall. Okay. Someone who was really hyper and active like me and now cannot move, feeling really crook, wondering what the heck's going on. That's like suppression. And I'm going, who made this up? Okay. Mum's put me through the butt. There's a whole lot of other stuff in here, but too long a story for here. But anyway, at the end, I'm asking Mum, why were the men floating? Mum's really switched on. She knows a lot of stuff. I'm not sure what you're talking about, dear. And that's even worse, because you look out to Mum for answers, and now Mum doesn't know what you're talking about. And that was the image that I was looking for, because Aboriginal way, blackfellow way, you draw, and I redrew this image again, primary school, a couple of times, high school, older in life, and I had one there to show you. So why were the men floating? Well, and then later I'm working out why was I using the word floating, because you hear stories, or you hear people express things like the leaf is floating down, the balloon is floating up. What's in common with all those things? They're not touching the ground. Mum thought I was talking about something to do with the bath because we're in the water, but it wasn't. I was asking why were the men floating, because when I was comatose, these floating men were sitting beside me. And later on, I learnt the term levitation. Okay, so that's what was happening. I was there. These guys were just two elders, and they were just floating there and looking out for me. So that's a first connection to me, in mind to me, wondering where did that picture come from? Because that's the next question. One to Mum, why were the men floating? And she didn't know. Then after, I'm going, where did that picture come from? Where did that picture come from?
Yeah.
So this is a thing. Let's just say you got the aspect of conditioning, and you got the aspect of seeing things, and the mind making the picture. They call it a mental picture. Well, it is the picture. It's in the mind. Yeah. Anyway, so uh gosh, where was I? You got young kid looking at all this and wondering where the picture comes from. And then later you work out all these things that I present on, particularly natural law, when I do all the the energy stuff and whatever, and you got information, that is data that causes things to come into form. So the form in the mind, what they refer to as a mental picture, is a form. It's a conscious form, so it may only ever be relegated to the conscious realm. But if you know how to work with energy and get stuff in the conscious realm to manifest in the third dimension, well, that is what happens as well. Okay, that's just sort of just a basic overview. In other words, it's a mental thing that makes the third dimension. Yeah. So, well, like, people don't have to agree with that. I'm just saying this is what I've discovered. This is the best thing, best
Yeah.
way to describe it. So, anyway, uh, the So, so why were the men floating? And then the next thing was, where did the picture come from? So, just even as a real young person. So as you grow and you're just studying all this stuff, you're just collating all this stuff to work out, what's happening there. So when I get to a point you realize about dreams, well, it's the same thing. Yeah, same but different. So I actually had it because I was comatose. You could say that was a dream, or you could say it was a vision, or you could say it was a sleeping vision, because you can have waking visions, sleeping vision. Most of the dreams you have when you sleep. And I've worked out, and I've read a little bit about dreams, but mostly who was that fellow, Carlos Castaneda or whatever it was, and then Robert Munro. Okay, and that's another thing that I put in there about if it was dream to me. But anyway, the thing is, most of the dreams are validation. Very few dreams are prophetic. And so the validation dream, and then you get people have scary dreams, and then they call them a night female horse for some reason. But anyway, so um, when I'm working with kids and they say, oh, and they tell you they had a scary dream, I said, well, what was scary about it? When you go through these steps with them, what you're really assisting them with is attitude. Okay. And the attitude is this, that if you don't know something, it may seem scary. That's because fear comes from the unknown. But when you look at symbols and then you work out it's just a symbol in a story to get you through the mind, through that picture in the mind to get you to realize something, okay, well then it doesn't have to be scary. So be calm, just look at the picture and see what all those little things mean. Now for a child, when they telling you stuff, you can say, oh, that could be this. So that's Robert Munro saying, if it was dream to me. You're not saying what it is because it's dream to them. They've got to make the interpretation for self. So you're just saying, it could be this. So you're acting as a guide, and if it's correct and they gel with it, well, good. But anyway, you let people work it out for themselves. Most of these are validation dreams. Then you get prophetic dreams, which just they're some to the ones that I've had really good because they saved me a lot of humbug. Because when you can see stuff coming, you go, oh, okay, going to do something different. um, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I like that, especially the interpretation. Um, I haven't read any like dream interpretation books because like I think it's all individual. So it depends on your experiences and your beliefs
Yeah.
and all that sort of stuff. So I don't think I felt like there was no point me reading it because I needed to figure out myself first and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
interpret my own dreams in that way. Yeah. So
Yeah.
The Carlos
The
Constanander
sorry.
book that
Yeah.
you mentioned,
Yeah.
I've been recommended that book a couple of times already, and it's sitting in my Amazon cart, and I've not like hit the buy button yet. But is that the one where they talk about astral travel and whatnot in one of his books?
Yeah, and look, that was like more than 30 years ago
Oh,
I read that. So like it was like when it was a fairly new text. It might have been around 10 or 15 years already, but to me it was something that was coming into field to me at the time. So I don't really recall what was in it in terms of detail. I just remember reading some stuff and thinking, oh, that makes sense. Because I'm like that, it's either going to make sense or it's not. Sometimes it makes dollars, but you know what I'm saying. The, the yeah, so but it was enough for me to use it as a grounding, and then I came across Robert Munro's work, and these guys are not setting out in text to actually decipher what particular symbols are, though in the midst of the story that sometimes unfolds in that way, but they're not texts where you got all these things and these are symbols and what they mean. Because different cultures, with different egregores, there's symbols can have variation. But when you study those lists, you'll find that there's a heck of a lot of correlation, like same but different in terms of interpretations. And some symbols do have within egregores multiple within the same egregore multiple interpretations. The same as in the English language, one word can have multiple meanings, because these are all just symbols. Words are symbols, the same thing. So yeah, but it's important that the individual has got to feel, not really go. They can use as guides other people's ideas, which are a glosser of the egregore, but you could feel to you. That's important because that's the core stuff. So you're not being misled or misguided because it's from core. It's not from some external source. Okay. The
Yeah.
other thing is, it may take you 40 years to work it out, but but at least it was you that worked it out. Anyway.
Well, we're hopeful
Yeah.
with this podcast that we give people a platform to be able to interpret their own dreams, hopefully in a shorter time frame.
Well, could I add something there to do with the Robert Monroe stuff? Like, I've lived overseas and around Australia, and I've made friends over the years, and people have a dream and they know the stuff I do, and they send me an email with all this stuff. Because I've been with these people, I'm an advocate. So if they want to get into the stuff, have a notepad there, write it down as soon as you wake up in much detail. You remember at 10 a.m. something else, just write it down and just put it into where it fit into the choreography later, because you need as much detail, because everything is meaningful. It's not just the items, it's the direction, it's the placement, it's the sound, the smell, if you get no, there's so much stuff, the color, the tone. Anyway, so you get mob, they send me this stuff, and I look at all the symbols and I break them down and I make the storyline and I send them back to them, and then I get a response and along the lines of, "Gosh, how did you know that was happening in life to me?" And I said, "I didn't. You did. It was dream to you. All I did was look at the symbols and made a storyline with the order of those symbols come together, and that was what it seemed to suggest." That's all I'm doing. So when you're assisting people to interpret, well, all I'm doing is break down the symbol. I can put it into a storyline. It may or may not be a good fit for them, but on at least two cases, literally, how did you know that was happening to me? Because these were people living in France,
Yeah.
that they didn't have regular contact with. They're good friends, but not day-to-day contact. But anyway, yeah, that's the thing. I didn't, they did. So when you got the dream and it's a validation dream, that's the thing. Most are validation dreams. That's just all these symbols coming in the dream state, just validating this is where you are in life, yeah, current circumstances or whatever. And that
Yeah.
doesn't happen just in dream. That can happen in waking. I get one bird come in and it's being chased by another bird. I ring up daughter, "Hey, Don, someone giving you humbug. What's happening?" She said, "How do you know, Dad?" I said, "Well, because you were just here." Because dreaming to her was behaving in front of me in a certain way, being affected by another entity. And I just looked at the symbol and I said, "Oh, something's wrong with him." So I rung her up. Anyway.
Beautiful.
Cool.
Love it.
No, that's cool. I like that. Well, Sarah, do you want to talk about your experiences? You've had like your dreams, yeah, out of body experiences.
Sorry, were you asking me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
sorry. I missed that. Yeah, I wanted to I had some questions with out of body experience because I definitely I've had at least a couple in the last week or so. I've had them throughout the last year or so since I've been really focusing on my dreams, and I just kind of wanted to get your perspective. And I don't know if I should just throw out a bunch of questions or just ask you to just start first with out of body experience, or if I should even just describe mine.
Yeah, I reckon you
Um,
should talk about
e-
your
either
experience. So yeah,
either way, I'm happy. I would
yeah.
just you go for it.
Yeah, yeah. Um, let's see. Because I've got two and I don't know which one. I think I'll talk about the simple one. So, on this podcast, we talk a lot about the importance of intention, not just in your waking life, but also for when you're going to sleep and for dreaming. And so there was this one morning, I'd gotten up, I don't know, used the bathroom or something like that, went back to bed, was all snuggled in, and I was like, okay, I was like, set the intention. I was like, I want to have an out of body experience. I want to have a flying dream. And I went to sleep. And then there's like a little bit of vibration. And then I literally like feel myself lift out of my body. And I'm flying. I'm like floating around my house. It's really great. It felt amazing. And then it's like I was going so fast. So with my mind, I was like, oh, slow down. You're going too fast. Go around a corner. My cat is looking at me like, what are you doing, mom? And I went a little too fast, and then I woke up because I guess I lost control or whatnot. So it was like a combination of an out of body experience and I guess a lucid dream with a little bit of control. And I guess I wanted to ask what your perspective, Trevor, was on the out of body experience. Is it something you can induce and how it actually feels in the body? Because I know how it feels for me, but I don't know how it feels for everybody else, or if it's even a thing or, you know, all of that.
Yeah, well, there are a few different out of body experience is a term, and there are a few different ways you can get that experience. And before I get into them, there's uh, people that can do it on call. In other words, they put out the intent and they do it, waking, not just in the sleep. Okay, so just waking. So you can have it in the sleep phase, or you could have it in the waking phase. So the one I'm referring to now is in the waking phase, and I've had in 60 years of life, from what I recall, like I'm older than that, but from what I could recall with the first one, I had 30 in 60 years that were not on call. I don't have the ability to do on call. I may do, but I've never realized it. It happens to me. It's something I've got no control of. There's always a special, I use the word special, or a particular set of circumstances where it's taken place. And then on July, I think 27th, 2 years ago, I had 30 in 4 hours. And I mentioned that on the Lay Love Down. The reason I mentioned that is because when that was happening to me and a few other things were happening to me, I realized that with all these changes in energy and stuff, and everything is mental and everything is conscious before the third dimension, we're just here in the mortal body at the moment in the third dimension. But with all these shifts going on, I realized that a lot of people are getting, you got awareness and mindfulness. Okay, awareness is sensing the data, mindfulness is deciphering it. A lot of people are actually becoming mindful that they're actually more aware, right? Because all this stuff is coming in. Now, something like that happened to me, and I've been watching other people, and I said on one of Rachel's things, like just I'm sharing that story because I see it as a signal, as a marker. So start watching other people, and I'm getting this feedback from various sectors where people have increased, or their sensitivities have enhanced and the like. But anyway, that's just an addition to that. So back to the outer body itself, like 30 in 4 hours. And there was a half-hour session roughly and about 3.5 hour session after in the evening. And but between those, it's the same people that we're interfacing with. And they were catalysts to this, and they didn't even know what was going on because I dropped it to them and innocuously, just talking about stuff, and they didn't flinch, didn't blink, nothing. So I realized that they weren't getting it. It was only the experience that to me. But anyway, so so that's that. And then when you do the one when you're dreaming, they're really cool, especially if you're let's just say you're balanced enough at the time to fully realize you're in a dream and you are able to have appropriate control of what's going on should you wish to invest that control. So I've had some fly a lot, and some people say flying's not good because it means this. Don't worry about that, mate. If it feels good, right? When you do the dream interpretation, remember I said feeling, smell, all that sort of stuff. If it feels good, that's don't worry about the egregore things that where they say about flying because they're not all negative, but some are say it's not so good. But anyway, and you get some, and you get in some, and you go, oh no, I'm here, and that's the lucid side, as Sarah was mentioning. And then you got it, and you get it. And one of the best ones I ever had, I was on this planet, and I was coming down. My feet weren't touching the ground, and I could see this group below. It was like two adults and three younger people, and they were humanoid, but they weren't humans, right? And they were standing, and then I saw what they're standing as I'm coming down on this planet. I'm just upright, and I'm just looking down at them, and it's like a spaceship coming down slowly like this, and then and my feet start touching the ground, and you know what the ground was made of? Amber, or it was just amber, amber, amber. You know how you have sand on the beach and sand particles really tiny? Well, these amber particles are like this, but it's like sand. And so the whole thing, everywhere you could see, it was just amber. And I'm going, man, this is cool. I like this place. So anyway, but that was sort of when I woke up. But just the point there that I was getting to, that you do sometimes be in a state where you have control, and sometimes I've personal to me, I've had the when I hadn't exercised the control. I just gone with it, and whatever happened happened. Then I woke up and said, "Oh shit, you're an idiot, man. You should have done that, And I whatever. Yeah. Anyway, so
Yeah.
you can have the OBE asleep, you can have the OBE awake. You get these mob that astral travel when they're awake. They do it with intent. And I got a couple of friends that do that actively, and it's not them saying it; it's been validated by other mob. Okay, you ring up mob 1,000 kilometers away. Hey, blah 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 blah. How do you know that? I was just there. You know, in the middle of the day. It's just yeah. And that's different to translocation, where you take the body as well. So anyway, there you go.
Yeah, okay, you gotta talk more on the translocation.
It's well, it's a real thing, and it's not something that I've been able to do yet. And no, I'm not one of these people that has wish list, bucket list. I'm one of these people I let things unfold. If it's meant to be the experience in this life path, then that's meant to be. I don't go out and seek, force, push to get things. If it happens to me, it happens to me. And that is one of the things about attitude, is that it's just far more graceful to be like that, really. It's okay to be curious and to investigate, but but there is a point where I'm using the word push and force, inappropriate type thing, and pushing boundaries. Well, there's always this thing: be careful what you put out for. you know you know what I mean. You don't know what you're going to get. So I just it's a far better, if I use the phrase defensive position. It's a far better attitude to just to be grounded in core and see what comes to you.
Really good
Yeah.
advice.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree with that.
it's funny though, as you mentioned about translocation and taking your body with you, and I'm not saying that this has ever happened to me because I'm not sure I would recognize it, but it reminded me of the recent out of body experience I had, like the dream I just described to you guys, and then I remembered I'm like, oh yeah, when I woke up, it's like I sat up out of my body is how it felt. And then I got up out of bed and but I'm like still dreaming and I like turned around to like look back in the bed to see where I was and my body wasn't in the bed. And then I just happened to float away. So it was a really interesting concept. But I was still in dream mode, I believe.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
well,
cool. Yeah.
it sound like, very lucid, and
Very lucid, yeah.
but the mental picture could still have been a mental picture and not the actual 3D thing that's going on. So you just might have all been in the mental picture. You may have been on the bed, but in that dream state, you was not on that bed. But that is a very important symbol, can be validating. That whole thing there is the thing about perceptions and where the image is, and you look back and you either realize you're asleep or you don't realize that you're asleep. I think you're saying that you did realize when you look at the bed and your body wasn't there. Well, that could be telling a whole lot of other things.
Yeah, tell me.
Well, the body is an image, and they can
Oh,
say,
interesting.
yeah, yeah, the body is an image, but remember when I mentioned that the all the images are in the mind,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that's gonna throw me for a loop
Right.
there now. How do you
Yeah,
process that?
because you see how people refer to the third dimension being an illusion.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't think it's an illusion at all. I think it's a well-usion.
Okay. Explain.
Well, it's not ill. I don't feel bad about it at all.
Okay. Yeah. But still,
Well, illusion.
but a projection, is that kind of the word you want to use, maybe? I'm not really sure.
When you saw that your body wasn't in the bed, is it like,
No, just the 3D world itself instead of illusion. Is it more of a
oh, well,
projection?
well, that's, that goes into the flower of life stuff, and which is only the matrix that forms the third dimension. The other matrices that people are talking about are hijack matrices. They're in the conscious dimension. They just influence what's happening in the third dimension. Okay, so when you got all those syntax of information and it's in a mental thing, and you have the dream to bring it into form, that's what they're calling an illusion. And why they're referring to it as an illusion is because they're saying the reality is in the consciousness. So you see blackfella dreaming, where does the concept of the dream come from? That's an English word. The best we can work out was coined by the postmaster of Alice Springs, who was um, making dialogue by letter exchange to some of these anthropologists working in the desert who'd come into town every now and again, but he knew about it. He wrote a letter, and he was following all this stuff. Obviously, he would have had an interest. And he, as far as I could be able to find, he was the first one to actually commit to writing the term "the dream" or "the dreaming" to this process that they're working out, that the original mob were investing in, and that is that it's the consciousness is there by itself, unable to see self, wonders if it exists, works out the potential to make another one, and then does so. And then you got the first straight line, which is the masculine expression within inside the feminine womb. So the circle is the womb. That's the first one. And anyway, then they're saying, well, when they're looking at this, they're thinking, what is happening here, using their, to use a word, esoteric background knowledge. They're going, was there a need for this movement? I refer to them as first movement. And they could not determine that there was a need for it to see self. So they said there was a desire, and that's where the application of the dream, as in, I have a desire, like Martin Luther King, I have a dream. Okay. So then they put this English phrase, and it's quite apt, really. There are a lot of English words and phrases imposed on the regional people system, which are totally wrong. But this is actually quite apt, as a word for the dream. So what it's saying is the same as all the other esoterics, really, and theology is that the physical realm comes out of the conscious realm. Yeah.
Fascinating.
I was just looking for a slide to back that up, but I've just got the wrong slide. I've got slides from another session loaded, and I don't have that one. But anyway, but you'll see it. I mean, uh, you'd seen the natural law ones, Biljana, the sessions.
Yeah, I think
Remember
so.
that's
Yeah.
two circles. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, I didn't really know where this was going, so I didn't upload any
No, that's
special
all right.
special slides. But yeah.
No, that's all
So sorry,
good.
so the question was there, so I don't know, I probably digressed a bit too much and then lost the track. Was that sort of explaining or answering anything with your question?
Yeah, I think so. You've got me hung up on the fact that now I look back and I didn't see my body. Like I wrote that down, I noted it, but I didn't like, I was so taken up by just flying and enjoying that I totally like missed that there's some significance to the fact that I look back and didn't see my body. And if you
Yeah.
have any more insight on that, I'm all ears.
Well, I'm just suggesting it could be a symbol of this issue to do with illusion, and where the real power is in the mental framework. And then you've got to realize that the mental framework has a core, and that keeps you connected to all other cores, and not to be distracted or from core to you, because what's happening on this planet with all the attractive distractors and distractive attractors is that they're taking attention away from core. And that's why people aren't experiencing beingness, they're experiencing roboticness.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Zombies on their phone, right?
And the same conversations over and over again, I feel as well. That's a big indicator for me. Like, oh, it's like let's talk about something else apart from sport and the weather. Let's talk about how what are you experiencing inside, you know?
Mm.
Um,
Well, they
yeah,
could be
it's crazy.
perceiving the same thing. They could be perceiving the same thing. They could be sitting there going, "Oh, these people are just talking about what's inside." Why don't they?
Yeah, probably.
Anyway,
Yeah, yeah,
no, but
yeah, definitely.
yeah, no, but yeah, I know what you're
Yeah.
referring to.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask, because I haven't had any like out of body experiences, and it's so great Sarah and I sharing our dreams because they're so different. Like her experiences are different to mine. I don't really take in the symbols. I'm more like when I wake up or when I'm in the dream, I'm trying to recognize how I feel, like how it makes me feel. Um, and especially when I wake up, like if I feel really drained as well, or if I feel, you know, rejuvenated or feel good about it. Lately I feel like my dreams and my waking life are really blurred at the moment. Like sometimes I've been like in the last week waking up and not knowing if that happened the day before or if I
Mm,
dreamt it. Like it's very like the two are so close together. Like I was just telling Sarah just before you got on, because I've just moved in like with my mum helping her on her farm, growing veggies and that sort of thing. And so it was just a way to help her. Um she'll just give me a little bit of income, pay bills and all that sort of stuff. And then so trying to make this a relevant point, but I was looking at my account just like, oh, has the money gone in? And I knew I hadn't gone in before I went to sleep. And I dreamt that she put in lots of money. Woke up and I'm like, oh, mum, you didn't have to give me that much. Like, it's all good, what you can afford. And then she's like, no, I only gave you like $100. And I look at my account this morning, there's no monies in there, hasn't come through. But it was so real that I felt like it already happened.
mm,
So I don't know. It could be because I'm putting that intention out that I really want her to, you know, do really well with her business and make as much as
Mm,
she can to, you know, better herself and her community with, you know, fresh vegetables and teaching people all that sort of thing.
mm.
Is it my intention or is it something else? What do you think? If that all makes sense.
Well, firstly, days, things happen over a number of days. Yeah. So you spell that DAZE, and I've been feeling like that as well because there's so much happening. It's just like,
Yeah,
whoa, 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 okay. You got to do this, you got to do this. There's all this other stuff, and
yeah,
it's all good, it's all good, it's where we're at. But it has been a bit of a daze. I'm just going to say something here, like if it was dream to me, but I'll be looking at something like that and this is based on egregore to me. In other words, attitudes to me with that, and that is that I've always said that the true currency is love. Now, the because current is energy, it go flow from one. You can give love away and keep it at the same time, and it's the only true currency. And
yeah,
so when you're looking at stuff going into the bank account and you saw lots in there, to me, if I had that dream and it worked out later that there wasn't so much, I would just say, oh, well, that was the exchange of love. You'd seen and you felt the love, and that's what you're involved in. The material actual money system is irrelevant. It was just as a symbol in the dream to
yeah.
tell you
Okay.
about something else.
It's beautiful.
Yeah,
Love it.
love that. I can just feel that. That's good.
You're really good at this, Trevor. Did you want to bring up
Well,
the subconscious sun?
yeah. So like when you sent that list and subconscious and then subconscious, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's interesting. I never heard of that before. So do you want
No,
to
I
speak
made
on
it
that?
up.
Oh,
That's
did you?
why.
Ah, cool. Even better. Because I even Googled, I'm like, sun conscious and
No,
nothing
don't
come up.
go woggle, go woggle. You don't empower. You say sat and ick, and you spell the I C in capital letters so that it's clear that I see because they do not want to be seen. So if you tell them that I see, right, then they're exposed. They cannot operate. Demon ick I see. In big, hyphenated. Don't empower them. Demon I see in capital letters. You can see it all. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They don't like to be exposed. They cannot operate being exposed. Anyway, I don't know why I was putting that in. Why was I putting that in? Oh yeah, so that because I just made things up, right? So it's
Yeah,
unconscious, where'd
yeah,
that come
cool.
from? I went to I was sponsored to go to Vienna by a social psychology association, which is headquartered in Vienna, but they have stations around the world, and it's called the Korczak Society. And so one of the ladies had been on country on tour with me, and she said, "Oh, we got all these people want to hear more about that." And I only talk about it very briefly on tour. You got to talk about, the nature, the historical stuff, the whole thing, in an 8 hour tour or whatever. And she actually was only on a 2 hour cruise with me when I was skipping a cruise. Anyway, she said, "Oh, we want to hear." I got all these people, and I said, "Will you come?" I said, "Well, you organise it, I'll come." So she organised it. They sponsored me. It actually worked out that they paid me as well after, which was something else that took place. So I went with no expectation, except these are people that want it. Sorry, there's a mosquito here. Talking to him gently. um, where was I? Yeah. So anyway, I went there and I was presenting on all the stuff, and it was at that time or just leading up to that when I was thinking a bit about this business where they're referring to subconscious. And the connection here was that I was, for some reason, things come up in conversation, whatever, or something triggers you, or you see something on a video, whatever. And there was an issue of this word subconscious. So sub meaning under and under conscious. And what it's referring to there. And I'm thinking about, okay, they're talking about something that you don't have ready access to, but it has influence over behavior. Yeah. Where does that arise from? And where is it? So I'm thinking, okay, you got a subconscious, they're talking, it's sub, so it's under, so it's a floor. Is a term of reference for a symbol. It's a floor. Then I realize it's also a wall. And it could also be a ceiling, right? But basically, you boxed self in, right? So there are things there that you did not want to face, so you put them outside of those parameters so that they're not every day influencing self because you're not able to deal with them satisfactorily at that moment for whatever reasons. But I was thinking as a mechanism, okay? And then you get this business where they talk about dark night of the soul, and you get it going back all the way back through, old mob writing up this business through, I don't know, Plato and whatever, wherever the reference first arises, and then eventually English language is dark night of the soul. And I'm looking at this process of where they get to this dark night of the soul, and then I'm looking at the original people and I'm thinking, why don't they get this process? Why don't they have to endure this process? And that's when I realized that when you go through initiation, you go through some physical endurance that forces you to go into core. And when you're into core, you know self and you can take on the challenges. The whole social psychology system is very supportive in this, and this is too long to cover it entirely here. But you're able to take on the challenges, accept what you're able to accept and form the correct attitudes. And then when you're 40, 50, 35, whatever, you don't have the dark night of the soul, which is a cathartic experience of when you find out what you are actually being. Yeah? They already know what they are being from in puberty with the initiation process. And I worked out that's driving you back to core. So what's in core is the light. So I said, oh shit, man, this is sun conscious. Forget that subconscious stuff. So I just come up with the word sun conscious instead of subconscious and said, well, if you already know it, it's illuminating, it's good. And that's the attitude. So you got to have a mechanism to put you in that right framework of attitude. And that's what initiation does. And when you got all these other systems externalizing all this, giving up power to all these external things and ignoring self and power of self, or just giving up personal power, you don't get that illumination, you don't get that realization. And they don't have this initiation process. Well, they have a initiation processes of a different caliber or league, so to speak, but not the same as what the indigenous mob endure. Yeah. So that's where that idea, the concept, I just made it up.
Yeah.
Just
Well,
means the light.
well, I might
Just
start
means the
using
light
that now.
within. Eh?
I
Sorry?
might start using that. Sun conscious.
Yeah, it just means that you know core, it's
Yeah.
and it's light. It's proper light.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like lately I've been thinking about like subconscious. People keep talking about the subconscious, there's things that we haven't dealt with or whatever. I'm like, why do we have to have a subconscious that we, don't understand? Is that because we're not trying to understand ourselves? So it just gets like more and more
Mm.
things are hidden from us.
Mm.
So yeah, and yeah, it just has
Well,
never sat well with me, that subconscious.
the more self-investigative you are as an individual, the less subconscious procedures will be affecting you
Yep.
because you're self-investigative. And you find something, you say, well, I'm not happy with that, I'll deal with it, and you work it out. So it's no longer sub. And
Yep.
then you know how you've got the right attitudes to behave, to interact uh, consciously. It's no longer sub. So where did you go to get that? You went to core, you went to self, or you may have had assistance from external, talking to others and whatever, but it's the old thing. You don't do the work for people, you encourage people to do work for self because that's all it is. No one
Yeah,
else gonna change nappy for you, you just it's the individual that does work for self. Yeah. Anyway,
yeah,
that's just how I sit on it.
No, I
yeah.
I love it. I think I'm gonna drop subconscious terminology altogether. It's so much better to come from a place of light for sure.
Well, it can be a relevant thing in context for somebody's life current, that they are affected by these things that they were never able to overcome the challenge for whatever reasons. Right? There's no judgment here. There can be reasons, whatever they are, but they get to a point, well, it's easier to hide that thing out of the way, and then it's becomes subconscious. But the key thing would be is just to encourage people to explore. And I'm not an advocate so much for these mob working out this past life stuff. I mean, it could be okay, but I've seen where someone has a past life. What do they call it? They have a practitioner there that do it. What do they call it?
Like
Regression.
regression. Yeah,
Yeah, and then they get told, well, that's them, and then they got to own it. That's potentially dangerous because the story that I do with the anatomy of the enemy of memory, you'll see that you could be accessing memory to some other entity, not necessarily you. So the practitioner's really got to know that that was a part, and then again, you've got to agree with the narrative of past life anyway, you know. But that's pretty dangerous to force something on when you're not in a real position to know if it's actually belonging with that person or not, because that I don't know whether you knew that, when I do the anatomy of the enemy of memory stuff, it shows that you can tap into the memory field and it's not necessarily an experience to you. Okay. And I do that all the time.
Tap into the memory field, you mean?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's what I do. Got it. You get asked to douse someone's house and whatever, and you go, okay, well, don't tell me nothing. I don't want to hear nothing because you're not cold reading. You're not asking questions. I'm not asking questions. I don't want them to tell me nothing. The only thing I am asking questions, I'm asking them, is it okay to go in this room? Is it okay to go in that room? Is it okay to go over there? That's law of permissions. Okay. And then I put the story together, what I get, and they just basically just go, what the heck? I've never known them before, and I've walked in there. I was in Vienna, and those mob would take me around and walking and that. And I said, "Oh, this is this," and they're looking at me like, "How did you know that?" I'd never been there before, and they lived there. They knew the things that had happened there. I said, "Well, it's in the memory field." So anyway, that's what their intuitive sensing um, sessions are about: is getting people to um, become increase their acuity, really, because everybody is doing it. A lot of people are doing it unconsciously. Yeah? But when you bring that up to the conscious level and you realize there's just so much happening and it keeps you safe. People ask, "Oh, so what?" I said, "Well, it keeps you safe. What's the everything in terms of deciphering about? It's to work out what is helpful and what is harmful. And if you can sense stuff in the vibratory field that already knows humbug, well, then you don't go there. Yeah, stay away from it or whatever. But anyway, that's yeah. I,
yeah.
I, I, you say one thing and I just keep talking, but anyway, you
Yeah,
No,
just,
no,
that's all right.
that's totally, totally cool. I
Maybe that's
guess
where this conversation will go anyway.
exactly. It's we don't have a script. We have a few general questions, but we just like to let the conversation flow. If we stray too far from dreams, Biljana's really good at pulling us back to dreams. But so I've got two things that came up in when you were talking there, and I'm not sure which one I want to approach first. I think the tapping into the memory field, because we've talked about past lives previously in these episodes, but maybe we'll talk about that after if we have time or whatnot. So you tap into the memory field when it comes for sensing energy on properties and whatnot. And I think you mentioned something about memory at the very beginning of today's episode. When it comes, and I don't really know where this question is or how to formulate it, so I'm just going to talk, and then I know you'll be able to bounce off what I'm saying. But when it comes to dreams, we've talked on this podcast before about accessing other timelines, other dimensions when you're dreaming. Are we accessing a memory field when we're dreaming, or are we creating memory fields when we're dreaming? I think that should be the question.
Both, both. The
Both.
potentials are for both. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Um, yeah, that's where when you get into energetics and like even symbols falls into the same thing, you realize that everything is there. And what is it that makes it meaningful is attitude, right? And so you got anybody can come along and use the energy that's there. So you get mob that are using it in a supportive, beneficial way, and you get mob using it in a demonic, undermining way. Okay, and that's um, the fourth vibration, which is choice. It's the crossroads, and that's why a lot of the falling out happens in the fourth dimension. There's a good reason for that because that's what the fourth vibration is where you make choice. You make wrong choice, and then it's where a lot of humbug happens. But anyway, so the thing is that within the dream state or even in the waking state, really, because you have imagination, you can be sitting there being creative, making stories up or whatever. So you that's definite that you're creating there. But in the dream state, you could also be creating, co-creating, whichever way you want to look at it. But you're often getting what's in the memory field being deciphered or interpreted and represented in a symbolic form that then you got to work out what the heck those symbols are telling you, which is something a skill that you build over a lifetime. But the feeling, I think it was you, Biliana, when you said about feeling, you got to feel it. Yeah, no, it's very important, the feeling, because it's a mental thing and the emotions is are very guiding in working out whether you something is bona fide, authentic. Yeah, because you'll feel if it's wrong. That's just really basic feeling, like you'll feel if it's wrong or you feel if it's right. Yeah. And if you're in core, you don't get misled by that. It's not somebody else suggesting something to you. It's you. Yeah. And it's right for you. And different things are going to be a good, right for some people and not for others, just depending on what the subject is, if you know what I mean, just in general thing. But anyway, yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Awesome. Did you have anything, Biliana?
Um, I do, but I'm just mindful of the time. I got heaps of questions, but yeah. So,
Well, I guess it's up to
um,
Trevor.
No, no, you go for it because if you like, I got 4 hours worth of stories.
I don't know if I can stay up for 4 hours,
No,
but but I can definitely stay for a while.
I suppose like the other thing was premonitions, like you say, prophetic dreams, like premonitions. Is that like tapping into memory field?
mm,
What are they
mm.
to you? And yeah,
It's in advance.
yeah,
It's in the memory field, but you're seeing it in advance.
yeah.
Isn't that
Like a
bizarre?
preview of a movie.
Isn't that bizarre? Can I give you an
Yeah,
example?
yeah.
At the time, I was living in Tweed under Wollumbin. This may not mean so much to Sarah, but this is a significant energy site in Australia. And so this is going back to just after the turn of the century, I think it was 2001. And a mate uh, and I had booked in to have stalls at this, what they refer to as a psychic expo, but there's all this other stuff, mob with orgone energy and all this sort of stuff, but it's called a psychic expo. Anyway, he's a balancer. In English they say healing, but blackfellow way we say balance, because if you got disease, it's because of imbalance. So you assist people to balance cells. Anyway, and then I was just at that time doing artwork to do with nice stuff, because I didn't have any income, and I thought, well, I can sell art. I'll just go there and all the spirit stuff I do. Anyway, and so we're going to have these stalls there, and then I think it was 2 nights before, I had this dream, and I woke up and I said, nah. And I rang Gary up and I said, Gary, I'm not going. He said, why? I said, I had this dream. He said, oh, okay. We went there, partner to me at the time, and we went there. It was at the Carrara Stadium in the Gold Coast. And when we pulled up, there was no cars. And we went inside and there was no people. There was like 5 or 6 people walking around, and there's like 200 stalls in this thing. And Gary was right up there. And when I went down there, and as I was approaching, he said, good call. No one turned up to this event. It was just not properly promoted. There was a whole lot of, I think, no one really did a fair income post-mortem on it, but it was already lunchtime and people were starting to pack up their stalls. So what was the dream? I'll tell you what the dream was, just to get my head around symbols. Partner to me, Lee, and I, she was on left to me in the dream, so that's spirit side, and we're standing on this river bank, and it wasn't a sloping bank, it was like a straight like this, and just like you have a canal, so to speak. Then you have the river flowing from right to left, so from physical to spirit side, and it's about, from memory, about 50, 60 meters wide. And then in front of us, there's a square rigger sailing ship with the sails going up on it. And it's starting to move, and it's moving with the current, not by the wind. It's just going on the current, and it's going past us. And I'm saying, Lee, we're supposed to be on that. And so we start running down the side of the bank and following the ship, and it's getting further out into the middle of the river, so it's going to make it more difficult to get on, and it's difficult to keep pace, and it's getting ahead of us. And then all of a sudden the ship disappears because it goes over this waterfall, and we go up to the edge and we look down on the waterfall, and you can see the ship down the bottom, like about this big, and you see all these specks in the water. That's the people that fell off the ship, and the ship is right way up, and it just starts sailing. This is a real classic ending. It starts sailing off into the sunset. The sun was setting, okay, and that's it. And so I woke up and I knew what it meant straight away. And so I rang Gary, said, I'm not going.
Yeah, wow.
So I saved myself a lot of humbug, packing up, setting up a stall and everything else and whatever, because no one went there. It was a non-event.
It's
So
fascinating.
I could spend time and break down all those symbols and how they fit in and whatever, but straight away I knew that the thing was not happening.
And
Yeah.
that
Does
was
that?
just like something from within your core that you just felt, you just knew, or
Well, I already knew a lot about symbols. So it was, as the thing's taken place, as soon as I've woken up, I've already got it's not like sometimes you sit with things and you might sit with them for 2 hours and put it away, and then it'll come to you 4 hours later. Most of the stuff in there, the symbolism in there was stuff that was already ready. you know.
and
And
is
so I
it
woke up and I just knew it wasn't happening. Yeah, it was just very clear to me. It was about the event, and that the event was not happening. Yeah.
and when you talk about these symbols being ready, is that just through your own, you know,
I have a good
let
understanding of what they mean, and the range of things that they could mean, so that when somebody speaks a sentence, as soon as they finish a sentence, you got it. So when you got the dream, it's like speaking a sentence, and if you know what all those symbols in that sentence mean, as soon as it's finished, you got it.
Right.
That sort of thing. Sorry to, yeah.
No, no, it's okay. I was just gonna say, is that like through your own dream work, throughout your life, just analyzing your dreams and figuring out what a symbol means for you, or is it coming from
Yeah.
a different place?
No, it's about understanding what symbols are and what they do mean, and knowing all the different things about mentalism, egregores, perceptions, and because as I've said, you go to a different place and that symbol might mean something else to a different mob, you know. But when you have a dream, it's got to fit with what's happening with you, usually, because they're usually personal. But sometimes you have dreams that where you're involved in looking after others, where you still got a personal involvement. You're looking after others, but you're still in it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you might have a dream where you're not in it at all, but you still are invariably by nature of what's going to happen later. You're going to ring someone up and tell them or share something or whatever, So there's always some involvement in there. Anyway,
With like
I
those
don't
sorts
know.
of dreams,
Right.
oh, sorry, I cut you off.
No.
Are they, do you ever have ones that are like literal, like it's a literal translation into your waking life, or are they like a metaphoric, like with symbols and stuff? Or do you ever have ones that are like literally, as soon as you wake up, or that's going to happen in the future? If that makes sense.
Yeah. I
Because that dream, like you
also
just
have them
explained,
as
is like
validation. Right?
metaphoric. Yeah,
Sorry. I also
like
have them
that
as
dream you just,
yeah, as
you go, sorry.
validation.
Yeah,
And that's sometimes you wake up and you think, did I just have deja vu?
yeah,
But it was a dream. But it was literally something that already took place anyway. And then I'm trying to work out which one took place first, the dream or when it really happened. I'm not that spacey a person, but I can tell you there's sometimes when I'm going, uh, hang on, which frame am I actually in? Um,
yeah,
that hasn't happened a lot, but it has happened a couple of times where I've had to seriously, like not seriously, but I've had to go. Gosh, I better ring someone up and check on something, because I can't work out did I have the dream first or the dream after. But it's just like deja vu, and it's exactly sort of what's
yeah,
happening. But sometimes I'm
yeah,
walking along and I think I'm in the dream, and I'm actually awake. I'm really awake,
yeah.
but it still feels like a dream state sometimes. So, and what was the second part of the question?
No, it was just more like, do you ever have like those sorts of things, deja vu, um, like where it's literal translation, or are they
Oh,
more
metaphor,
metaphoric?
mostly metaphor.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah,
um, yeah, I can only recall very few dreams really, and I don't even remember the details of them other than the theme. If you don't remember details, you'll always remember the theme. And the theme is that they had literally happened, or I had the dream and then they literally happened. But um, that becomes a prophetic one. But most of them have it's already happened. Then I had the dream, so it's like validation. Uh,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, there might be a few little minor details sort of thing, but the actual scenario is what's happened already. Yeah, it's a validation. I don't know
yeah,
why you have things like that. Do you need to relive? I was just, you know, um, super conscious is having a go at telling you something or alerting you to something. But anyway, if
Hmm.
you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't.
yeah. That's true. We've talked about this before, and I have a lot of deja vu. Like I'll be sitting the exact, table, or like I'm at a cafe or like at someone's house. I'm the exact same person. We're talking about the exact same thing, and I'm like, this has happened already at
Mm.
some point. and it happens like it's every week. I'm having something.
Mm.
So I don't know if it's maybe it's just the same situation I've had while I'm awake. That's what I'm saying, like having same conversations with people on a regular basis, or I've dreamt it beforehand. So yeah, that's why it's quite fascinating.
You're very connected to the memory field, Biliana, is is what's
Totally.
happening.
You see, they talk about timelines, yeah, and all this sort of stuff, whether you're into that or not. But you get an airstream, and you get another airstream, and you get another airstream, and you get another airstream, and they're all crossing over one another. And you get this one fella called an eagle, and he just goes, he goes through all them. That's basically what you're doing.
You're surfing the timelines. Which kind of
Oh,
segues into the past life that I just wanted to state kind of how I feel about past lives and see if that resonates with you, but I think it will. I don't remember if I had an actual question when you were talking about past lives, but oh, because you were talking about past life regression. And I think was it our episode with Alicia? I think that's when we were talking about past
yeah,
lives. And because beyond the third dimension, there isn't really any concept of time, you know, the past, present, future, it's all happening in the now. And so, from that perspective, there really isn't any past lives. There's just timelines that are happening. And, you know, in this current 3D reality that we're in, having this conversation right now, we're at a particular point in the timeline. But I feel that when you dream, you access a different dimension and possibly other timelines, kind of like how you said, where you just kind of swoop, be the eagle, and come down across timelines. So I feel that there really isn't a past life, and with past life regressions, it kind of ties into what you're saying, where you might not be the people who do this, you might not be pulling what's actually meant for you because you're actually tapping into just the memory field of possible other timelines. It's kind of how I feel. I don't know if that makes any sense.
No, basically when I do the anatomy of the anatomy of memory, that's exactly what it is. Same thing. So, the time, linear time is a framework, it's a point of reference, but where you got the memory field, you got everything, and you can draw it as a circle because that's the traditional way of drawing it. Uh, and it's got everything in there, including all potential. Yeah. So you just can't, that was the thing that with that when I made that reference to the past life regression and people getting to own it. Because when they had those World War I and they had the mob with what they now know as PTSD, whatever it is, and they were in shell shock and whatever, walking around talking about Napoleon. Then the French doctor finds out from a German doctor that he got same, and I think it was four or five of them, these guys walk around saying that they're Napoleon. So does the soul split? Does the soul able to you got to agree with the concept of the soul first. You got to agree with the concept of reincarnation second, and all the rest of it. Does it split and come back in five different entities in the same timeline? All these questions and more. And so that's when I worked this thing about the memory field, because it's the same as a radio station or TV station. You change the dial and you got a different program. So if you're going down the tentacles of the anemone, you're the sensory tip. You go down the tentacles back into core, you're tapping into one of these programs, but which one is it? Was it actually you, or was it somebody else's, an experience of someone else? And you could say, well, we are all is one. You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
anyway,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
it I don't know where to go with that. We try to be individuals, or we are an individual fragment, fractal, whatever you want to call it. But,
Mhm.
this is like the microcosm, but as you scale out and scale out and scale out, we are just all one, and we are all individual,
Hmm.
having individual experiences, but it's all coming from the same source, experiencing itself through all those experiences, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, pretty much. I point out to folks is that while you're here in the third dimension, it's very important what you do because of the law of correspondence, law of reciprocity, and a number of others, the law of care, and basically, enjoy while you're here. That's what it's all about. I didn't, you've got little kids and they're whinging and said, "What you come here for?" And they look at you, "What you come here for?" They look at you, "This planet. What you come to this planet for?" "I come here for a good time. I'm going that way." And if they want to come, they come. You know what I mean? They soon work it out that it's all about attitude. So that I just keep going back to that because we got toys, and we got for wellness, well-being. We can choose to be well-being in well-being, and it really starts with attitude, which means to have a smile, basically, and to know what the heart is. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. That's a great thing to yeah, point out.
So the
Attitude
dreams are
for
just
sure.
dreams are just happening. They're important. I'm not dismissing it at all, but it's true. It's all the things just happening. So just smile when you have the dream.
Like the flying dream.
Just enjoy it.
Because, like, one of the things for like a flying dream for me, what it points out is that 3D physical world, we have certain constraints, you've got gravity, you've got quote
Mm.
unquote the speed of light. You have these things that define what the physical reality is. But when you dream, the laws of physics go out the door
Yeah.
because you can fly, you can, you know, I don't know. It's amazing. I love dreams. And
Yeah.
I love I love dreams and I love interpreting them or just enjoying the experience, and you know, seeing how they can help you grow as a person as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a very important statement because they're part of the mental framework there, and we always looking for something that is going to assist us to, like you said, grow. And growth, what the growth is care. That's love. That's what true growth. So they're things there to assist us, just the mental framework. And now you got to say this in context because you get some people that are mentally imbalanced and you don't know what type of dreams that they're going to have. So just in context, we're talking about balanced individuals that are self-investigative, are investing in care and love. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm at a point now where my dreams seem to be, especially even this week, where that love is actually, it's like I'm showing love within my dreams or trying to help others within my dreams, which is a really fascinating place to be because I've spoken before in the past about I used to have a lot of tornado dreams, which was what I think was my oh, you got to smile, so something about tornadoes for you. For me, I felt like it represented a fear because I was genuinely scared from as a child, about tornadoes. Like I would watch Twister and it just it did me in. I spent a number of years in Florida, was always mortified that a tornado was gonna like plop down on our house or whatnot. But then, about a year and a half, 2 years ago, I woke up one day and I decided I didn't want to live a life of fear and anxiety anymore. And there was some work on that, but my dreams shifted in the last year where my tornado dreams would shift from, instead of me like running away from them, it became more like a preparatory type thing. Like, okay, I know how to handle this, I know what to do. Then it became helping others. Okay, come on, we have to go to this particular place. This is a safe place in a house. And then the last tornado dream I had, and I haven't had it since, was I just let the tornado just hit me in the dream and nothing happened and everything was good. And yeah,
Yeah. Because the fear was from the lack of knowledge, and the more you study, the more you worked out, and the more you knew what to do and behave, and that's all that stuff we were talking about before, what's helpful and what's harmful. But what's a tornado?
what's
I'm going to
tornado?
simple for you. What's a tornado?
Yeah, it's a big energy force.
It's a vortex.
It's a vortex, yeah.
Yeah. What happens inside a vortex?
A lot?
Exactly. The only thing you can really guarantee 100% change.
Yeah. Mm,
So there's a big shift, mentally on this planet to do with the attitude. The word shift is a word for change. It's like changing up a gear, changing gear, whatever other metaphor you want to put in. But that's, you know, tornadoes and dreams. You're dreaming about change. It's good. The,
yeah,
the, the thing is, the things are there. It's just whether we're able to be positive, constructive. Again, it goes back to attitude thing, not being, yeah, just work out what's required for happiness, joy, Yeah.
absolutely. What about buildings collapsing? Witnessing that. I haven't had that in a long time, but what do you think about that as a symbol?
Well, there can be a lot of different things in there. Where was the building? What type of building? This. But just real basic, building collapsing. What's a building represent?
Um, Framework, structure.
Yeah, exactly. Structure, solid. Yeah. And if
Mm-hmm,
it's crumbling, that structure's going.
mm-hmm.
And
So is that like some kind of
can be
framework
a
within your life that's
me- mental structure, physical structure. That's the symbol. And if it's in a dream, that's a structure which is no longer structural. It's collapsed. Okay. So if it's applying to something in the mental framework, well, you've got to make readjustment. If something's collapsed, you're going to either say, well, we didn't need it anyway. We do not need to replace it with something else. Or you may be sitting there thinking, well, if that's gone, we still need support. We need to construct something else. There's a whole lot of things there, but the essence is the structure is gone because it's no longer structural.
I like how you're allowing me, Biljana, to recognize what a symbol means by asking a simple question, which is just simply, well, what is that symbol? What is a building? What does it do? A reoccurring theme for me recently, and it actually happened again this past week, Biljana, you've heard me talk about this before, and I think I've had a couple ideas come up with, I think this is our episode with Melissa. And that's the concept of losing shoes. I'm in a dream, I'm at a party, I'm somewhere. I'm like, okay, I have to go. Can't find my shoes. And I like spend a whole bunch of time in my dream looking for my shoes. My most recent dream this week, there was a different scenario where I couldn't find my shoes and there were just shoes everywhere at the party. Everybody had left and there were just shoes everywhere. So I'm like, well, somebody took my shoes. I need to find a pair of shoes to walk home in. And I like pick up, I'm like, oh, these are nice. These are purple. They've got a nice style. And I try them on and they're too big. So that was like a new twist on my can't find my shoes dream.
I like that.
Yeah, now I'm just waiting for Trevor to say what it means. Or ask me what it means.
No, it was dream to you. Well, let's
Yeah.
have a look at this. People say, okay, the feet straight up. We ground with the feet. That's symbol of connecting to the third dimension where we are incarnate.
Okay.
You got all the helpful and harmful stuff to do with the third dimension that can take place in the third dimension, but the feet ground you to it. And it's also in a literal sense when you understand ether, energy, kundalini, and all that other stuff to do with the human physiology, energetic system into facing with the Earth's physiology energetic system. So what are the shoes? They're an insulator, but they're also a protector. So they could be insulating one from overload, or they could be, which is the same as protecting. But they, as an insulator, they could also disconnect.
Hmm.
So you got to see all the other things that you're getting in that dream to work out what the shoe symbol, because it can be, even though the shoe is a recurring symbol there, they could be telling you, suggesting to you different aspects of where you are currently to deal with grounding, protection of self, um, in that whole process of being in the third dimension. The colors of the shoes are very important. If you got two left shoes, two right shoes, the type of shoes very important. Like workers' boots or stilettos. All of those things are important. Where you saw them on the floor, were they behind you, in front of all of those aspects of everything is position, place, color, form, the whole lot. It's all a symbol. You got to work out, put all those things together first, and then see how that dream is attempting to assist you, either just in validation, saying this is where you are at the moment, keep going, it's good, or giving you a warning that, well, hang on, maybe you should take a step back. So I'm not saying those either of those two are relevant for the shoe series of dreams, but that's just overall that's what you're doing when you're assessing your dream. So yeah, happy shoe hunting.
Yeah, thank you. Well, it's funny because that dream in particular, I also was looking for my purse and my wallet. And then I realized, oh, I was looking for my purse, which had my wallet and my phone in it, and I couldn't find it. And then there was actually I, as we talked about the tornado dreams, I don't have fear-based dreams very much, very, very rarely. And there was a moment of fear in this dream because I didn't have my phone, which I guess is in the concept of my dream, I'm like it's an identity in a way because I needed to check my bank account, and then there's like the two-factor multi or whatever you call it, the whenever I go to log in somewhere, they always like send you a text to make sure it's you when you log in. So it's some sort of an identity connected to who you are in this 3D world. And then I couldn't find my wallet either, which has my driver's license in it. And I'm like, well, if anybody found my phone or my wallet, they actually wouldn't be able to get it back to me because I've moved recently. So the address that's on my license is not actually the address of where I am now. And I had all of this like mental processing happening within my dream of a little moment of panic where couldn't find my phone, couldn't find my wallet. And I had 25 cents in my hand, which is also a weird thing as well. And with the 25 cents, I was like, well, that's not enough money to call somebody. That's not enough money to call a cab. And I'm like, I guess I'm just walking home. And I started to walk barefoot home. There's like snow on the ground, but I wasn't cold. And then I woke up before I got very far.
Wow, I'm sure there's a lot more detail, but that's enough detail. You're exactly right. It's identity. Yeah. All of those symbols of identity, even the shoes, identity.
Hmm.
By themselves, the other things I mentioned there with a symbol, protection and the like. But then when you look at the identity aspect is what happens with shoes. People choose shoes the way they choose clothes. It's stuff that they like. It's stuff that they identify with. So the way people dress is very much a part of identity to them. Yeah. So the shoes, then you got the wallet and the phone and everything else, all identity stuff. If it was a dream to me, I'd be going, well, that's good. There was an issue there about whatever facet of the identity or identity as a whole. There were issues there that I was needing to come to terms with, to learn about, to make concrete in attitude for happiness, about identity, etc., etc. And at the end of the day, the symbol was you don't need to rely on anybody else. You're doing the work. Yeah. You had no shoes and you walked through the snow and it was not cold. You didn't have to rely on anyone else. You didn't have 25 cents to get a cab home, or you didn't have to rely on anyone else. It's you doing the work.
Love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good. I like that.
Yeah, me too. Careful, Trevor. You might have just earned yourself some emails from me in the future.
No, that's all good. As I said, I've got friends I've made around the planet, and they know the sort of stuff I do. And every now and again, I'll get an email, and most of them they worked out. They get enough now over time. They work out stuff for them for sales to them. Occasionally, people contact me, and it's no worries. As I said, all I do is look at the symbols,
Yeah,
and they
but you're
can.
just really good at figuring out what they are. It's like you don't even think about it. You just got it.
Most of the time, there will be things that I've not come across before, and I'll have to find a place, um, in the scheme of things, if you know what I mean.
Hmm.
But most of the time, it's pretty automatic. It always has been from when I was really little. I used to wonder why people do the things that they were doing when I went to primary school and first saw all these different mobs, because before that, mum was the only white person I saw on a daily basis. And then went to primary school and all these different mob there, and they're all doing these different things. And I was just wondering, what the heck? Why aren't they able to see? And anyway, that's just I don't know. It's just, yeah, haven't. I've sort of thought about it over the years, but haven't really dwelled on it too much. It's just other than knowing that I was born with that way of perceiving things as meaningful. A lot of other people just doing things automatically, and they don't put meaning to all the stuff that's happening around them. That's to greater or lesser extent, if you know what I mean. Not everyone's like that, but yeah. Yeah. Anyway, you're welcome.
Yeah, cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I mean, you're welcome to send emails, is what I meant. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Well, thank you for future or the now. Biliana, this is usually where you ask on time or wrapping up, I think.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, yeah, well we've had a good chat. So yeah, it's been enlightening, I guess. Can't think of another word, but yeah, just
Yeah, no, that's good.
um,
You just
it's really good. Yeah, just like I was saying before, I'm not about really interpreting symbols as such, but it's good to hear different perspectives and even like ways that you can break it down yourself. Um,
mm,
and
mm,
just questioning things like why did that appear in your dreams,
mm.
that sort of thing. I think that's where I kind of go from. And yeah, so it's really great to hear your perspective and how you've experienced that, like since you were 3. 10 months, you said 10 months old. So,
Oh,
that's,
the oldest memory, that was not to do with dreams, but I was just because I was
yeah,
making reference to memory field and all those other
yeah,
stuff.
okay.
So the issue of memory, the oldest memory that I'm able to recall was, according to Mum, I was 10 months. Yeah.
Yeah, that's still pretty good though. Because
Mm.
I've still like 8 years old is the oldest, the youngest I can remember. So that's in itself for me, that's a lot of stuff I need to probably tap into and yeah, try and work out what I need to remember if I need to remember stuff from that age and younger. But yeah, so thank you
Mm.
for coming on and
No, you're welcome.
yeah, yeah,
Definitely.
you're more than
You
welcome if you want to
think,
come on again
yeah.
and yeah,
Yeah, thanks for having me. Well, I don't know. I do have a lot of story, but anyway, not necessarily all to do with dreams. But anyway, just yeah, no worries. Um, let it unfold as it should. But
yeah,
thanks for having me along, folks. It's been it's been enjoyable because otherwise I'd be talking to myself.
Oh, well, you're always welcome to come on and chat with us.
That's just the line. Don't worry about it. I actually got a friend visiting at the moment. She's sitting out there and she's heard most of this, so yeah, it's all good.
Um, do,
Yeah.
do you have anything that you would, I don't know, a takeaway for our listeners, something to recommend with dreams, whether that's interpretation or just dream work in general, just anything that's on your heart? This we like to open up the floor for last words for our guests.
And
Um,
how people can find you as well.
Yeah, well, that's after that.
um, if everything in the third dimension is a product of something coming out of the conscious dimension, dreams are a toy box, if you like, within the conscious dimension. So it's important. If you place importance on it, then you will find the right things coming to you through dreams. If you ignore it and dismiss it, then you will not have the benefits of what's in that toy box. So it's choice. They're going to be there. It's up to you to work out, are you going to utilize these things as a like a constructive instrument, if you like, in making decisions or and in all well-being. Um, they're there anyway. Yeah.
Beautiful. I love it.
Love that. Yeah, toy
Yeah.
box. I like that.
Yeah. And so I guess that means that if somebody isn't on a self-discovery journey or isn't, taking steps to work on themselves, then dreams are just random nonsense to them, huh?
Yeah, potentially. I say potentially because dreams, and then they get to a certain point, potentially, where they have a dream and they wake up the next morning and they get hit by the truck, and then they go, "Oh, I should have been paying more attention." So, it's a progressive thing, and you get to a point, and then you get a realization of um something that is there that you could have been getting more benefit from had you paid attention. But it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, someone could be 98 years of old, never had a dream in life to them, or they can be 98 years of old and had all these dreams and ignored them, but they're still alive. The key is, are you happy? So if you got something happening there and it's making you investigate, well, why are you investigating? Because you want to know if it's helpful or whether it's harmful. So you got dream situation there, they can sort that stuff out pretty quickly, or it's just fun to dream. There's so many different people are going to have different things, but it is a tool, so to speak, really, that access to that aspect. Um, Given that we have very little control over it, we do, you can do all that stuff where you do have control over dreams, but by most folks are just, it's a dream, it's a dream. But yeah, yeah.
Wonderful. So, would you like to let people know where they can reach you if they wanted to get in contact with you? Anything that you,
There
because
is
we'll
a
include everything in our show notes. So,
Yeah, I do have a website. It's in serious need of revamp. I've been meaning to get to it for several months now, and uh, Prana in Belgium runs that for me, where I've just been so busy with so many other things. But anyway, the website is natural law dash, as in a hyphen, SWU dot com, whatever it is. But you just put in natural law dash SWU and you'll see it. You don't need a www dot stuff, you know what I mean? You can put that in if you anyway. Um, so the SWU stands for sovereignty within unity. And that's the first graphic that humans render. They don't even realize it, but that's part of the first graphic. It's an interpretation of that symbol, the very first symbol that humans rendered. Whether they got to give it to them by the Palladians or Uncle Wat or Yoda, who knows? But that's the first symbol, yeah, which is a circle with a dot in the center that represents sovereignty within unity. So I only
Yeah.
put that on
That
there to separate, because there's a lot of natural law sites, and some mob there don't even know what natural law is in real terms, like semantically. And they're just saying all this stuff to do that men made up, and they're saying that they're natural law. They're not. Anyway,
yeah.
that's where
That symbol
that's
comes up a
that's
lot
where
for me.
yeah, yeah, good. Because we're all
I,
connected,
I've
see?
yeah. Yeah, I just drew the other day I just drew it on my leg. I was like, why did I
Right.
draw that? So
Yeah, well, that would have been one of the basis of that slide that I was looking for, that I don't have loaded here.
yeah.
Um, that was the starting of the first movement. So I'll just see if I got one on here. Here, this is I do have one on here, but it's not a part of the series. It's isolated by itself and not part of the story. That's that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've dreamt about that a bit too.
Hmm.
And even just like doing any sort of like meditation and sitting still like that pops up in for me a lot.
Interesting.
So I
So
like
what's
that.
that
I've
trying
met
to tell you?
I've had people that we've been meditating on vortexes, and then one was sitting down the bottom and one was sitting up the top, and I was sitting up slightly behind them, watching out for Harryman. And anyway, and then afterwards they said, "Oh, I got," one said, "Oh, I got the circle with a dot," and the other said, "Oh, that's what I got too," like, and I was sitting behind. But anyway, that's just a story, just sharing with you. So it's there in the egregore, it's there in the conscious genome, so people will get it. Um,
Yeah.
that they know what it represents or not, another story. But that's the womb, and then the which contains everything, and then the first thing article in there expresses self, which becomes the first straight line in geometry, which is a masculine expressive within the feminine,
Yeah.
and also represents care, because none of that would happen if there was no care.
Yeah. Love that.
Wonderful.
It is actually deeper than that, Sarah, and a little bit more long. I'm just a very abridged version here because I know we're attempting to wind up.
No worries. I can check out
Yeah.
your website, and if I have
Yeah.
questions, I'll reach out for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, thank you again. And
No, you're
yeah,
welcome.
definitely coming
Welcome.
on again for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
I might have run out of things to talk about relative to dreams, It's anyway.
Oh,
Yeah, we can always cover the potential on an email, and
Yeah,
you might
yeah,
have
yeah.
four different people on, and I might just be there for 10 minutes or so. Because in terms of dream stuff, I think it's pretty good base ground.
yeah,
But other than actual dreams that I've had, which is not probably going to be that helpful.
Oh, why not?
Well, because they're dreams to me. They can be helpful
yeah,
in the way that I can use them to show how to build an interpretation strategy, if you like, or applied interpretations of symbols. But that's a focus on symbols.
Yeah. Well,
Anyway,
we can plan that for a different day for sure. I know that I was actually thinking, Billiana, that we got to start getting more guests lined up because April's coming and May is still wide open. So we like to
yeah.
have our guests planned a couple months in advance. But anyway, Trevor, once again, thank you for coming on.
no, you're welcome, folks.
It was,
Thanks for having me. Lovely meeting you both. I've
You too.
actually, Liliana, I don't know whether you were on one of the sessions that I did. I saw your face is familiar with something, or it might have been
Yeah.
Layla. Yeah.
Well, I do like weekly videos on Lay Love Down. So she's
Ah,
like Facebook, Instagram,
yeah.
TikTok. Yeah,
But I've been that busy. I haven't been following that stuff because I just,
yeah,
that scroll stuff. I just because I'm now involved with TASA, that's the
yeah,
priority. And I only look for information coming in for that because I'm the secretary of that. It's a very,
yeah,
anyway, that's a
yeah,
long story. Anyway,
yeah.
Cool. Well, I'll wrap up, and if we want to talk a little bit after, we
Yeah,
can after we record.
yeah, no worries. I got to go anyway. It's 10 here, and I've got tasks to do, and I've got my guest visitor
Yep.
here, and
Nice.
I'll head off. So I'll yeah, you guys can chat, but I'll time out. And thanks very much for having us.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to close up the episode if that's okay.
Oh
And
yeah,
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 for
yeah.
sure. Cool. So thank you to all of our listeners today. We hope that you enjoyed the wise wisdom from Trevor Wie. It's been a pleasure to have you on the show, Trevor, and thank you once again to our listeners. We hope you enjoyed learning about out-of-body experiences, premonitions, symbolisms, how to interpret dreams, all of the above. If you have anything you would love to see on our show or have your dreams interpreted, please reach out to us. You can reach out to us through our website, which is dreamoracleforyou.com. And once again, everyone, please keep on dreaming.